It's my personal pleasure to proceed with my Pentax performance of the Pentax program. Too many P's, far too many P's. Pentax. It's Pentax Day. I'm like a Pentax archaeologist today. With this hat. Anyway, Pentax Program A is the topic of the day. I am so excited to bring you this camera. I'm so excited to be doing this review. This is one of those cameras which I feel if you shoot 35mm, you will love this camera. This particular Pentax, this Program A, I picked up from a thrift store for no money. It looks so beaten up, faded, patina, scratches. But let me tell you, I mean, for a camera that was made in '84, this is in really good condition and creates wonderful images. Now, a lot of that is to do with the K-mount lenses that it has and the array of K-mount lenses I've purchased. And those particular lenses you can pick up for very little money. This little baby is a 50mm 1.2. This is a wonderful lens. I mean, I needed this particular lens on this camera because it has the aperture priority setting. I don't know if you can see that there. You see that A? That means that if I set, we'll go into it, but if I set the camera and the lens on A, and I set this camera to auto, I get a fully programmed mode. Don't worry, we're gonna go into it. But just a quick introduction. Let's look at the Pentax Program A. Let's look at why you should be purchasing it, and let's have a good conversation about 35mm and how it changed the game. Can I take this hat off now? I don't know how Indiana Jones did it. I mean, whips and running with a hat. I mean, I can hardly see anything. How do cowboys do it? It's insane. Anyway, let's have a look. There you go. That's better. Keeps the sun out and it keeps the sun off my bald head. So let's talk about my Pentax Program A. This is a 35mm SLR camera, which means it takes 35mm film and it has interchangeable lenses. The SLR section then means that I can remove this lens removal button here, twist left to take it off, and then I can just replace it with another lens. And there are so many lenses out there, you guys, that you can use. I like 50mm. I zoom with my feet, and 50mm, if you didn't know, is the closest focal length to what the eye actually sees. So if you're trying to create a composition with reality, then 50mm is a good way to go. It's also a great place to start if you're just starting off photography. You know, this particular focal length, this 135, I absolutely love, and this Pentax SP here has the 135 on it. Now, this is a screw mount lens, so it's not gonna work on that particular Pentax, but just remember, you guys, if you wanna interchange your lenses, you can buy lens adapters. If you've never seen what a lens adapter looks like, this is one. It goes into a camera on this side and then changes the lens mount. So let's talk about this camera. The Program A, was released in 1984. I was released in 1981. So I'm 3 years old, Pentax released this camera. So in 1984, I'm 3 years old, Pentax releases this camera. Funny, in 2008, they sold their company to Ricoh, I think for like $128 million, which is not actually a lot of money for a corporate. You consider how long they're around for, but you know, I'm glad they're still going. You know, we're looking at that imminent release as well of a new Pentax 35mm camera, which I'm definitely going to be purchasing. I'm sure it's going to be $1 million. So why do I love my Program A? It's a great question. Well, you've seen that I have a bunch of other Pentax cameras. I wouldn't go so far as to saying I'm a Pentaxian or I'm in the Minolta gang. Probably my brand of choice would be Nikon. I just love their vibe and I love the images that I get from their DSLRs. But with regards to value for money, this Pentax range is awesome. Another thing I like about them is the size. Something else I love about the Program A and my Pentax range is the size. If you have a look at the Program A compared to my Nikon FE, there is a markable difference in size. The The FE is a lot heavier, and that has a 50 on it right now as well. Incorrect, that has a 28 on it, but the size difference is palpable. Even when you go back to the K1000, I mean, the K1000 is a camera which so many people look for. I think it's what students use. I'm not a huge fan, but it's good because you can use it without a battery. But anyway, the size difference is just a little bit bigger. So this Program A then, one of the reasons that I absolutely love it is it has aperture priority. It also has shutter priority. And if you use the lens with an A on the top, it also has program mode. What does this mean? This means if you buy this 1984 vintage SLR beautiful camera, you are able to use it much like a point and shoot, but you'll be able to get those beautiful bokeh backgrounds by setting your f-stop nice and low, or you'll be able to incorporate those landscape shots, and the camera is going to do all the hard work for you. Now you'll notice I've got a Peak Design hub and I've got a red shutter release. I put those on there on most of my cameras because I think it looks cool, but also the Peak Design hub enables me to dangle my camera, put it on my wrist, and no one's going to steal my camera, and I'm not going to drop it when I'm freaking out. Oh my God, that's a great composition. I'm not going to drop my camera. Let's dive in then and have a closer look to the Pentax Program A. So here's my wonderful Program A. Look at the patina on this. I love the black murdered out vibes, and then you can see where it's worn off. This is a well-used camera. Battery door opening here, lefty-loosey, replace those batteries. They're going to be very common batteries for a lot of the SLRs at the time. That's my serial number. You can look it up and see how old it is. It's very old, not as old as me. Look at this patina. Shutter release here then, and you see this is the locking mechanism. L or lock means that you cannot fire that shutter. But then you see this gray button here. If I press the gray button and turn it to the left one, now it's on auto. You can also see that the lens is on A. That makes this program mode. So when I turn this dial to A, you can see that it's in auto. And then here you can see the aperture ring is also in auto. So auto shutter speed and auto aperture puts this in program. If I adjust my f-stop, now I'm in aperture priority, which is the setting that I love. If I put it down to 2.82 there, I'm going to get that nice bokeh background all the way up to 22. That's when I'm doing landscapes and I want everyone in focus. Now, if I put it in A and A locks in, now it's in program mode. You see this where it says man? That means this is manual. Now, using these arrows, I can increase or decrease the shutter speed. That's my heads-up display. It shows me what aperture I'm on and what shutter speed I should be on in order to meter successfully and get that correct exposure. Now, this also has exposure compensation on this side, -2 to +2 f-stops compensation. If I'm on aperture priority, I can adjust that there. And then this button, if I depress this button here, I can change my ISO, which I'm going to set when I put the film in the camera. Hot shoe on top then, which I love, which means I can do that flash photography. Open the back of the camera, the rear door, by pulling. Rear door opens, film goes in this side, drag the leader across, poke it in, advance the shutter, good to go. You can see I put tape on this one. The tape just reminds me that I've got film in the camera, so I need to release that. And I need to take out this, because the last thing I shot through here was HP5 at ISO 400. Now the Program A has a self timer. If I press the button up, press the button, I got 10 seconds, it's gonna flash. This button here, this is my depth of field preview, you can see. So when I'm looking through my viewfinder, it's gonna show me the actual image compensation exposure that I'm gonna get. All in all, a wonderful, beautiful, solid camera. So glad it's on the shelf. So glad it's in the team. I'm never gonna sell it because it's not worth anything, but it's worth a lot to me. Now, you may disagree with me, you Pentaxians or you Minolta gang people or your Olympus fans, but I'm going to liken my Program A to two other cameras I have. My Minolta X700 and my Olympus OM10. And this is the only reason. I know these cameras are in different leagues, different vibes, but the X700 is extremely reliable for me and I'm a good photographer with it. The OM10, I have achieved some of my best images, compositions ever as a 35mm photographer. This camera is my baby. So right now what I'm holding in my hands are my 3 go-to reliable, awesome 35mm cameras. The Pentax Program A, the Minolta X700, my Olympus OM10. Like it or hate it, those are my personal preferences. I know you have yours, put them in the comments below and let's have a look. I'm not comparing, I'm not saying these are better than other cameras, I'm just saying these are my old faithfuls. That having been said, thanks for stopping by. You know I love reviewing these older cameras. You know I love the images they give me. I print out every single roll of film I create. I put them in my photo albums and my favorite images. I blow them up, I stick them on the walls. I put images around the house just to remind me of those wonderful moments we've had. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.